friends. I haven't taken a shower because I'm going to do that after I finish this little chore. Now, we've been discussing, ways to save money and do Weight Watchers. As many of you know who may eat sugar-free or low-sugar jam, sugar-free and low-sugar jam are very expensive at the store. And quite honestly, yes, I have liked it in the past. And, I ate it for years. And I did eat a lot of it, losing my original 100 pounds. But once I moved to Kansas, I started picking fruit and making my own sugar-free jam. Remember JoAnna Lund, who helped me with the recipes when I was losing my first 100 pounds? She had a little booklet, and you can probably still find it on Amazon or Etsy or eBay, called Preserving and Canning on Timber Ridge Farms. Because that's what she called her little farm after she made enough money to buy a little farm. And so anyway, she had sugar-free jam recipe in there. And I have started making my own sugar-free jam. And oh my goodness, it is so much tastier than the store-bought sugar-free jams. The texture is better. Everything about it is better. So I'm at my dad's. And he has mulberry trees for days. There's some in the back too. These are the ones out front. And me and my daughter Leela, we're going to be picking these and making jam later. I'm probably going to freeze them while I'm here because I just don't feel like bringing all my hair is wild because of the wind. I don't feel like bringing all my canning supplies here, and the pectin and the big bags of Splenda and all that. But you can also make it with stevia. Remember, stevia and Splenda are about the same as far as using it for cooking and baking. But when JoAnna Lund was alive, stevia was still rather new and had not been perfected yet and had not been released in the baking consistency or texture yet. So most of her recipes called for Splenda. Before the Splenda got popular, they called for sweet and low, but all of them you can just make an even exchange to the next thing. Whatever calls for sweet and low, you can use the exact same amount of Splenda or the exact same amount of stevia, whichever you prefer. So anyway, I have made this jam for years now. We've lived in Kansas now 8 years. And I have been making it since I think the first year we moved here. And oh man, it's hard for me to go back to the store-bought stuff after having this. So after I can some, I may try to take some video of that too. But that's going to be a few weeks. But right now, me and Leela are going to be picking mulberries. And this is like one of my favorite jams. And you can't even buy sugar-free mulberry jam anyway at the store. And if you find it at the farmer's market, most of them, I will say, do not make it the right consistency. It'll be really, really runny. It's almost like a syrup. It'd be fine as a syrup on your waffles, but not so much as a jam. And I like it a jam. So anyway, I'm going to do that now. And this is one way that we save money. I can make this for literally, oh my goodness, a fraction of the cost of what the sugar-free jam at the store is. Sugar-free jam at the store is like $4 to $5 usually for a small jar. I can make a whole batch, meaning probably like a gallon. But that does take a lot of berries. Don't get me wrong. Making a gallon of jam is going to take a lot of berries. Most of JoAnna Lund's recipes, which is a good thing for beginners, only call to make like a pint or maybe even 2 pints at most. And so that way, if you're a beginner canner, you don't have to be really, overwhelmed by never doing it before and having, a ton of stuff to do. But I find after I got some experience under my belt of just doing those little 1 and 2 pints of recipes that she calls for, or she made, that I was able to really quickly adapt it to much larger batches and just adapt it to any kind of fruit. So I will be posting the recipe down below Recipes are not copyrighted for the most part. I don't think you can copyright a recipe even legally. But anyway, she always said that her recipes were not copyrighted. However, she always did just ask as a favor not to post new recipes for at least 2 years after they were printed. And she died several years ago. So all her recipes have now been printed for far more than 2 years. She constantly came out with new recipes, so she usually came out with at least 100 new recipes a month. So, you know, and lots of people posted them and stuff. And she knew that I posted the recipes, and she was fine with it. Like I said, she just asked as a favor not to post them for the first 2 years that they were new. But it's been much further than that, so now or actually she said I could post new ones, just not more than 2 a day. And I just didn't post any if they were more than 2 years young, just because, you know, there's no reason to. She had so many. But anyway, this has been out for a long time, and this is what I'm doing today. Picking berries. It's also good exercise, but it saves tons of money too. See, you can do Weight Watchers on a really thin budget.